Welcome back to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
I ain't scared of you motherfuckers.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. So listen responsibly.
It's the best of the best. It's the one and only DJ Ice, Louisville's coldest DJ.
Good evening. Welcome to Conscious Fever here on ICE Entertainment Television and Conscious Fever Radio. I am Carl Price, your host. Do I sound good? Sound okay? Sound okay over there? Got Paul Mullins tonight with me again. And we're going to talk about two things tonight. We're going to talk about two black men and a white judge. We're going to talk about Danny Cameron and his decision to take a job with an outfit that promotes everything and anything about 1792. And by the way, in 1792, people that look like Cameron were 92% of them were slaves in America. And then we're going to talk about the Las Vegas brawl. I'm sure you've seen the video. We're going to show the video a little bit more tonight. And we're going to try tonight with Paul Mullins, attorney Paul Mullins, to determine whether that man, Mr. Redding, that took that leap over the judge's bench was actually a real man, or whether he was a frog, or whether he was a superhero. But we've seen the video. We're going to talk about it tonight. I'm Carl Price. This is Conscious Fever here on ICE Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. When I come back, just going to take a very, very brief break, as I always do. And when I come back, I'm going to talk to you about Danny Cameron and his decision to go 1792. It's Carl Price, Conscious Fever, ICE Entertainment Television. We'll be right back.
Sounds like we have at least 3 injuries, one bleeding from the head. Our caller also stated that one party is unresponsive with severe injuries. They believe it may be fatal.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
All right, welcome back to Conscious Fever here on ICE Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. I am Carl Price, your host. Looking good tonight, I think. You'll know why I always look so good on Thursday night is because on Thursday morning I get my hair cut 6 a.m. in the morning. So when I come here, it's late. But anyway, I want to talk about Danny Cameron, you know, our good friend who screwed Breonna Taylor and the whole black community in West Louisville when he failed to indict officers that were actually probably should have been indicted for the death of Breonna Taylor. So here we go. Let's talk about this. Let me just try to get over. The producer's telling me to come over, and I need to because I got a sharp suit on tonight, y'all. Let me see. I think my name is in this somewhere. Yeah. Can y'all see that? Let me see if y'all can see that. Cameraman right there. This is Carl Price. So if you decide to steal it, you're going to be wearing evidence. Anyway, it's good to see our trusty former Attorney General Danny Cameron. It's good to see that he has landed on his feet. Now, before I talk about this story, I should give credit to the Courier Journal writer that actually wrote this in an op-ed today in the Louisville Courier Journal, and we're going to give that writer, I think it's Gerbert, the credit for this. So this is his opinion. This is an op-ed from the Courier Journal. And this is what he says. Just 2 days, of course, after his replacement as Kentucky Attorney General was sworn in, Cameron was introduced as the new, get this, y'all, CEO of a group called the 1792 Exchange. 1792. If you've ever heard of the 1792 Exchange, you're not alone. A ripple of, quote, what in tarnation is that, close quote, spread through Kentucky late Wednesday morning after news went out that Cameron would take the helm of this group. Political reporters across the state sprinted, ran to their Google machines to try to figure out what this is. Turns out the 1792 Exchange is an organization that doesn't want corporations to take positions on woke issues. It doesn't want them to end business relationships with people who act like racist and homophobic jerks, or place a premium on doing business with companies that don't harm the environment. It wants them all to stay neutral on controversial social and environmental issues. The ideal is that the only thing corporations should care about is profits, profits, and more profits. According to its website, the group's goal is to steer public companies in the United States back to neutral on ideological issues so they can best serve their shareholders and customers with excellence and integrity. The group's website talks about woke this and woke that, blah, 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 according to the writer. The 1792 Exchange takes its name from the first stock exchange in the United States back in the good old days, when corporations didn't worry about things like gay and transgender rights and the environment. Back in the good old days, when corporations didn't care about things like hiring black people, they just bought them. And that brings this writer in this opinion, to Danny Cameron, who spent his entire run for governor attacking woke people and woke corporations, as he refers to them, and doing everything he could to stick a sheave in the back of anyone who was trying to reverse injustices of the past. Those injustices would have affected him more than most. He was trying to take us back to 1792 then. He's trying to take us back to 1792 now in this new role as CEO. The writer wonders if Cameron even realizes how much worse it would have been for him back in 1792. According to the 1790 census, according to the author, there is about a 92% chance that Cameron would have been a slave in the United States, and not the head honcho of some political organization trying to make sure businesses felt free to trample on the rights of people like him. In 1792, if he lived in the South, he'd likely spend his days harvesting cotton or sugarcane in the oppressive heat of Georgia, state of Georgia, or Louisiana for no pay. Just the chance to have a roof over his head and the gruel his master would allow him to eat. In 1792, Cameron likely would not have learned to read or write, let alone attend law school like he did. In 1792, if he were to have gone to work for a U.S. senator like Cameron did, he wouldn't have been the senator's legal counsel. He likely would have worked in the senator's home, prepping the senator's clothes, serving him coffee, milking the cows, or doing whatever the senator demanded of him. White senator, by the way. That doesn't even take into account what being alive in 1792 would have meant for his personal life as a black man. But if Cameron hasn't figured out that he's fighting against the very principles that have allowed him to succeed in life by now, is very, very doubtful, according to the author, he ever will. That's too bad, because his constant attacks on wokeness will help ensure that some young black men in the future won't have the same chances that he had. While we'll never return to 1792 when 92% of black people were born into slavery, Cameron is working to make sure businesses don't adopt woke ideologies that have given African Americans an opportunity to succeed and could open more doors for them in the future. That said, the author is still confused by the 1792 exchange and what it stands for. The author asked the question, does it really want corporations to remain neutral on issues like gay and transgender rights, or is it okay with the bakery in Colorado refusing to make a wedding cake for a gay couple? Does it really believe Dan Cathy, the chairman of Chick-fil-A, should keep his mouth shut about gay marriage? Does it want BP to remain neutral on the issue of fossil fuels, or does it just want a company that supports solar and wind power to keep its corporate trap shut? The author's guess is that the 1792 exchange really believes businesses should be neutral only when they support liberal causes like social, economic, and environmental justice. Cameron's history of working for McConnell and the fact that the Citizens United Political Victory Fund has endorsed him should at the very least hint that Cameron isn't opposed to allowing corporate money into politics. But the last thing he wants is a do-gooder corporation telling us what we should think if it goes against his warped sense of what his 1792 world would look like. And that's a world where it's okay to discriminate against the LGBTQ community, to support policies that would turn our world into a Saharan nightmare, and to ignore the need for diversity that can not only give African Americans a better chance to succeed, but also help the companies compete. This is an article by Joseph Girth, op-ed. If you have any questions about it, you can reach him at the Curio Journal at 502-582-4702. Or you can email him at jgerth, Jgerth, at curiojournal.com. And this article, for those who are wondering, appeared on the Louisville Curio Journal's website. Girth, someone should remind Danny Cameron what his life would have been like in 1792. So now I turn to my friend Paul Mullins. Welcome to the show, Paul Mullins.
What's up, Carl?
Not much.
So I heard what you're saying. I hadn't heard of 1792. I guess the organization until literally today, when you told me what this topic was going to be. I saw that he I read headlines. I knew that he got a job, but I didn't explore it. I didn't care, honestly. So everything you just said is kind of me learning this for the first time. I don't know what that organization stands for, but it really doesn't sound like anything much different than your uh than your lobbyist type organizations. I mean, they're basically, he says they're consulting or whatever, this organization, nonprofit consulting, but they're doing the same thing as lobbying they would do with any other corporation. It seems like. So when we look at what the author of the Courier Journal said, he's saying, what would life be like for Daniel Cameron back in 1792? I don't necessarily agree that we should view it through that lens. It's just another conservative organization trying to steer people through political discourse. I don't know how they can argue that they're a company that teaches corporations to be neutral when you're actually taking your hand and sticking it into the corporation and trying to get them to think more like you, which is not neutral. So to ask a corporation to think anyway is not in and of itself being neutral. You're asking them to not in not I guess not uh, be politically correct. Would you say that, Carl, that they're asking them not to be politically correct or not to do anything of that nature? And at the same time, I kind of agree. I kind of agree that sometimes you can have too much. I don't. Carl, we talked about this. I never liked that word woke. I've never liked that word woke, and you and I have talked about this I never liked the word. I
What is
never
it
liked.
you don't like about the word woke? I'm a little curious.
I think it just encompasses too much. It encompasses everything. You know, you're woke if you believe in supporting, African American rights. You're woke if you believe in supporting gay rights. You're woke if you believe in transgender rights. You're woke if you believe in. Let's do something absurd.
Right, but you do know, Paul, and I get your point, but you do know, Paul, that that is their narrative. That is
Right.
the
I agree.
anti-woke community's
Right.
narrative, that it encompasses all of that. Uh, the problem, let me just say this real quick, and then I'll let you continue. The problem that I have with woke is that if we were not awoke, if people like Martin Luther King, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, uh, back in the day were not woke.
I don't like the use of that term because when I think of "Stay Woke," I think of a song by uh uh the actor Glover. Is it Donald Glover? The song says "Stay
Yeah,
Woke," right? And he's talking about stay woke with
stay aware.
stay aware, but he ain't talking about all the stuff that
Right,
people
but well, you know,
included.
here's the thing I would suggest to you, Paul, and no pun intended. I would suggest to you
To stay
to
woke.
no to really study the history behind the arguments and the debate about being woke, because there are some arguments that suggest that being woke is being too diverse, is allowing corporations to be too diverse,
Hmm.
um, uh, 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 and just too liberal
Too
in general,
progressive.
and too
Basically, that means too
progressive,
progressive.
and too progressive. But here's the problem with that. The problem with that is that back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, it was the progressive movement that got the Civil Rights Act passed.
Okay.
So we have to be careful when we talk
But
about slowing
but
down
that's
being
not what they
progressive.
right. But that's not what they mean by woke because liberals
Oh, yes, it
adopted.
is.
No, no,
I disagree with
no,
you
no.
on that part.
Okay,
Now
but
we're
I'm
gonna have to
saying
argue on that
I
one.
got you. But liberals adopted the term woke
No, they did
first.
not. No, no,
First,
no, 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 no.
yes.
That's not true. That's not true.
Why you say that?
No, because woke comes from the conservative ideology that we want to move this society too fast. And too fast sometimes is transgender rights. When you have religious leaders saying, hold on, we need to hold off on that. And if it's meant to be, then it's meant to be.
Yeah.
But right now, we're just moving too fast. And the ideal of stuffing those ideals down people's throat. They believe, the woke creators
Hmm.
of that term, right? Because there's a lot of commentators and news people who have just asked the conservatives outright, what does woke mean? And they can't tell you what woke mean. And the problem with that is that they're afraid to say that it means that black people are progressing too soon. And so based upon what you said earlier, that's what they want you to do. They want you to include everything else that generally the population as a whole probably won't necessarily agree with, like transgender athletes, trans women athletes, competing against women. So anyway,
So
I'm sorry.
I just have a different opinion. I think that at all times, liberals, progressives, however you want to describe people on the left, come up with terms that maybe a far left group might adopt, such as LBGTQ, or something where we never had those terms before. And conservatives have a way of taking the terms that they use and twisting them into bad words. Remember, people had no problem when I was in high school being called a conservative or liberal until Reagan takes office and he makes conservative a good word and liberal a bad word. So now in the 90s, being a liberal was, oh, you're too liberal. In the 70s, so what? You're liberal. Nobody cared. It wasn't that it was a bad term. Then it became an iconic bad term for somebody. They would have caricatures of a liberal being Dukakis and weak and on a tank. And then nobody who was liberal wanted to be liberal. So what did liberals do? They changed their names to progressives. So I believe, from my experience, I believe the word woke came from a liberal idea or progressive idea, and the Republicans have taken that term and twisted it into something bad, and now nobody wants to be called woke anymore. I never liked the term because when I first heard it, I thought it was too, as you say, Carl, progressive for me. to, you know, that if I didn't believe exactly what the far left believed, then I was not woke. And that's my first experience with that term.
No.
And it really came from the whole, um, it came along with the Me Too movement. And so that was a progressive liberal idea that the conservative turned and twisted. I don't like labels to begin with.
Well, where I disagree with you at is that I don't believe that woke is a creation of the liberal community. I
Okay.
believe that woke was a creation of the conservative community to say, hey, listen, you know, we're moving too fast. And I think the whole intent behind
So
the
you believe the conservative says, "Oh, you're woke." You believe they created that term and called liberals woke? You don't think that the liberals said you need to stay awake?
No,
Or
no, I think, I
okay.
think, I think, I think because you heard an R&B singer say it, you think that it started on
Look,
the liberal side. No, what I'm saying to you is that it is it's a term that was created by conservatives initially to 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 counter the religious move, you know, what they considered to be the anti-religious movement, and to counter the progress among the LGBTQ community. And then all of a sudden, when others start to join the argument from on the conservative side, it then became anti-black. So woke is universally recognized as something that is anti-black. So you know, I would say that, but I will tell you that I was looking at
wait, hold
Priscilla's
on.
comment,
You
and
think
Priscilla says to you, "Come on, Paul."
no,
She says, "Come on,
you
Paul."
think the word woke was created by a conservative to say anti-black? Is that what you just told me?
Paul, yes. And listen, we're not going to do this on the air
Oh, we're doing it.
because you're going to lose.
Hey,
I would tell
your
you,
audience, not
you are
mine.
going, you're right, but my audience is going
And I'm
to
wrong.
blow up
I don't care.
talking about somebody black
I don't
who
care.
believes that anti-woke. And see, but what I'm saying to you, Paul, is this: is that you're following their lead. You're following the conservative lead to believe that. And so I'm sure they probably make you believe that if you're too woke, there's something wrong with you. So
No, I didn't say that.
no,
I didn't say
I'm saying that. I'm saying that that's what they. So anyway, so I'm just saying that. Listen, woke. Those people who support anti-woke policies support anti-black progressive policies. I'm just saying that. So we can talk about Ocasio and all of those people and Bernie Sanders, and we can talk about how liberal they are. And we can probably agree with some of the conservatives that, yeah, that's a little bit too liberal. But all I'm saying to you is that woke is a conservative creation, and it has now embodied to be anti-black.
so. I'm thinking the word woke came from black people.
Well, don't think.
Well,
Let's
it's
just
true.
let's
It's
just
true.
research it and find it out.
It
came from black folks.
It's a black term. We
Oh my
created the
God.
word woke.
No, that R&B singer created it, but not for
But
me and you.
I got you. But that's vernacular. Most slang.
I can't believe that
I don't care what you believe.
This
I'm
is
just
lunch every day with Paul.
I'm telling you right now. We created the term.
Sometimes he's on board, sometimes he's completely off board.
Let me finish. We created the term woke. The conservatives take that word and twist it into something negative, and now we want to disavow it. We created the term woke. I don't understand why you would sit here and think that some conservative thought of the term woke and created that slang vernacular. It is not true. It's not true. We created the term. They turn it into something evil, and now all of a sudden we don't want to say we did it. That's stupid. Own it. We created the word. I don't like labels, but we created the word, and they're turning it into something evil. And now all of a sudden we want to say, "Well, I don't know where that came from." No, that was our term.
Okay, let's and people, we just sort of got off a little bit on that, but let's just do this. Let's talk about let's hone in on Danny Camp. Okay, hold on. Here comes Paul. Paul just has to talk
what
about
I'm saying,
this
from the song. And I know you saying it's R&B. If you listen to that song, he wasn't talking about stay alert to the plights of LGBTQ. He wasn't talking about stay alert to, feminism. He was talking about stay alert to racism, stay woke. That was our term. I'm not an idiot, even though you think that I'm less black than you. I know what I heard in the song.
I'm HBCU grad. I'm HBCU grad, y'all.
Okay, great. Right, and what am I, PMWI or something? PW, primarily white institution. So all I'm saying is, I'm still not stupid. I know where the term came from, and it was a clearly a black term that we embraced until the Republicans decide, or not even Republicans, just conservatives, decide to take that term, twist it around, make it something evil, and now all
Look
of a
at his
sudden
comment.
we're going to disavow it and say we don't want it anymore?
Look at his
That was
comment.
our term.
Troy Lawrence out in San Francisco or Sacramento area say we might have created it, but
Thank you.
more than half talk woke, but not hip to the narrative of the people that keep doing this.
Right.
So
I'm hip to what the people keep doing because that's what I'm telling. They take the term and make it evil.
No. I don't. Here's my response to what you just said, Paul. My response to what you just said is, "Ooh, these comments are coming in. I can't keep up with them." My response to what you said, just said is that, and you may have already said this, so I may be agreeing with you, is that that singer may have mentioned the word woke, assigning the definition to be aware, watch out, know your past because they're trying to repeat it.
Correct.
Okay. And when you talk about woke in that sense, it's just an indication to be aware. But that's not the definition that the conservatives are putting on it.
I know they twist it.
Their definition is
Everything.
nobody needs to be that aware.
Right.
When you're that aware, then everybody progresses. And you know that there is a fear in this country that the white man is going to be not the majority come 2040. And I think they put it down to 2030, 2035 now. So there are two different definitions. I mean, so we can talk about what the liberals believe woke is. It's just being generally aware of what's going on. Like, don't let the Republican legislatures gerrymander and you not notice that, and then all of a sudden you never are going to get a majority Democratic a legislature. And then there's this woke from the conservative side that is very, very simple to me, and that is you're moving too fast, okay? And then it becomes anti-diversity,
Right.
anti-inclusion,
Everything's woke now. Everything that they don't like.
Anti-LGBTQ community,
right. Everything
anti-black,
right.
whether you want to believe that or not.
Everything they don't agree with or don't like is now lumped into woke. Because originally it was, you're Black American, stay woke, be aware, as you said. Then it became, okay, well, LGBTQ, all the other communities, stay woke, stay aware. And now it's even, well, if you put a black lady and let her be Little Mermaid, that's woke. That has nothing to do with the original idea of woke is. But now the conservatives have taken that term and now it's everything in society. If you're a liberal, you're woke.
Woke to them means you're
everything
moving too fast, it's too progressive, and a black girl should not be the
Little
mermaid.
Mermaid.
And we saw a taste of this when The Wizard of Oz was on NBC. You remember that segment they did on NBC of The Wizard of Oz? And it was played by a young black girl. I can't forget her name. It may have been played by Tatiana Ali. I'm not sure, but whatever it was, that was too woke, right? According to the conservatives, that was too woke. Was a black girl as Dorothy, whatever. But anyway,
but see that has nothing to do with being woke from the original way that I thought the term meant. But now, like I said, the conservatives take it. The conservatives take a term. It's not just woke. It's everything the liberals do. They take the term, they twist it and mangle it so that it becomes an evil thing to be. For instance,
can we get to some of these comments before we keep talking? Okay, so first of all, Priscilla says for you, she says, "Come on, Paul."
She doesn't know.
Did you hear that, Priscilla?
I mean, all she said was, "Come on, Paul." Come on, Paul. What?
She says, "Come on, Paul." And then she says, "Oh, yes, it is." So I think that was in response. I mean, we're a little bit behind. Troy says that it sounds like religion. The reason the poor don't kill the rich, suppressing them. Napoleon. Thank you. Alvin Brown, our friend in Lexington, woke is a coined term that twin with BLM. What do you think about that?
That's right. What I agree with. That's about the time when you
first. Well, who do you think created that?
Black people.
Oh God. Okay. I'm gonna leave that there. Priscilla says it's slang. Okay.
We coined the term woke, and they take it and they twist it to make it something that nobody.
We might have created it, but more than half talk woke, but not hip to the narrative of the people.
That's what I've been saying.
Okay. Well, I think you and Troy are saying different things. 4 centuries, he says. I'm not sure what that is. And these comments, I'm gonna catch up with the comments. Skeveroo continues. What makes you think now it would change? Paul, not Paul, Troy, you got to explain that to
What
us.
makes you think now?
Or maybe I think he was trying to say slavery. Okay. Slavery continues. What makes you think now it will change? Okay. It is a continued narrative. And here's Alvin's take on this. Woke gives cover for transgenders, looters, immigration, and a term twined with BLM. And I think what he's saying is that just exactly what I was saying earlier was that the conservatives that have connected all of that. And so you cannot sell woke to all of the conservatives when you say it means anti-black, right? But what you can do is sell woke to the most ardent conservative when you include all those other categories like LGBTQ community,
Right.
immigration, looters, and different things like that. And so, I'll just go from there. But anyway,
Sorry.
Paul never follows our policy.
That's
Anyway,
awesome.
the light beer commercial featured a transgender that amplified the woke movement as well. Yeah. Keep feeding us those comments if you don't mind, producer. Conservatives woke from what, brothers? Come on, Troy. That's a whole nother hour show if you want to get us into that. I'm trying to keep up with the time here so we can get everybody out of here
We were
tonight.
actually talking about Daniel
Jewish 1%. I'm not sure what that is, Troy. Conservatives woke from what, brother? But anyway, so conservatives woke from no, don't worry about it. It says removed from broadcast right here.
So we were talking about Daniel Cameron's new job.
Okay, so we were talking. Let's just finish up and talking about Danny Cameron's new job, and let's just go ahead and call it what it is. Basically, Danny Cameron is the sellout that we thought he was. Okay, when it comes to black folks. Okay, and that's my story, and I'm going to stick to it. I don't know how you join an organization that is opposite 1619. Are you familiar with 1619, Paul?
Yes.
Okay, so 1619, you know what that was all about. It was just, that angle coming from the 1619 angle. 1792 is something that is completely opposite.
I don't understand why they picked that year, honestly.
Well, I just told you.
That doesn't make sense. The only thing that happened.
The op-ed, you didn't believe. Did you hear what I read from the op-ed? The op-ed. I mean, what I told everybody from the op-ed. The op-ed basically says, be careful when you wish for 1792. It's just like saying "Make America Great Again." In what year?
Yeah, but what is
in what time frame?
Why 17?
In what era?
Why 1792?
1790.
Why 1792 and not 1793 or 1791? The only thing significant that happened in if they had 1789, that's when we adopted the U.S. Constitution. That might make sense. 1792, you had the second election of George Washington. You had a time period when the country was about to fall apart, even though we just created it. I don't know why they picked that year.
People, we can't make this up.
I'm serious. I don't know why they picked
Paul, they picked a year because Negroes were slaves.
Yeah, but why that year? They could have put 1864. They could put 1863. Why that year? That's something.
In 1792, let me just offer this. In 1792, Negroes were, I know, George Washington was what?
He was elected second term.
Okay. In 1792, nobody, not even the Republican Party, as people argue today, nobody was thinking about ending slavery.
But they weren't doing that in 93 either, or 94, or 95. I'm just saying, why that year? The reason why I say that is
why that year, Paul. But
I know why.
But I can tell you, they definitely were not going to chose 1901.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Because in 1901, Black Americans were not slaves.
I'm gonna tell you why 1792. First of all, that was honestly, if this is a Kentucky corporation, that's the year that Kentucky was founded as a state. Number one. But also in 1792, there was a revolution going on at that time.
Read that when you put them up.
There was a revolution going on.
Kentucky was founded in 1792.
Right. That's what I just said.
We have to be careful.
So that could be one reason, but there's also a revolution at that time.
Okay, let me
And I
read this
wonder
comment
if
from let me read this comment from Judge Hickerson. Most people who understood the original meaning of woke, quote unquote, don't even use the word anymore because it was taken over by those with a
Correct.
negative state of mind.
Right.
Okay. So Paul, according to the judge, there's some accuracy in what you said. Okay. That's what you want to put. Anyway, I want to go to another topic. Can I go to the other topic or you want to talk about? But anyway, let's just sum up with Danny Cameron. Danny Cameron is just a sellout Negro. I don't know how you do it. Listen, I'm going to tell y'all something. I'm going to tell you something. For all of y'all in interracial relationships, okay? I have family members in interracial relationships. You don't have to lose your identity. You don't have to lose your identity like Candace Owens and Danny Cameron. You don't have to do that. You can have a blended family with other races than yours and be perfectly fine with reserving and claiming your culture. You don't have to change. You don't have to pretend that you're okay with 1792 as a black man. Because at the end of the day, every time Danny Cameron walks into a room, they don't see him as what he wants them to see him as. Even though he has his white wife next to him, they don't see him as anything other than a black man. So I'll just leave it with that. Paul, your final comments on Mr. Cameron before
I
we get to
mean,
some more comments.
I may not be as harsh as you. I'm not.
Harsh.
I may not be as harsh. I'm not a fan of him, and I don't have a problem with people seeing things differently from me. I just can't understand how he sees life the way he sees it.
Okay. All right. Let me just go to this next topic. If the producer tells me that we're ready to go to the next time, I'm going to go to this next topic. We're going to talk about Vegas courtroom attack. Okay. Now, many of you all are probably now familiar with the sentencing hearing in Las Vegas that turned chaotic on yesterday morning when a judge suddenly tried to scramble out of her chair as a defendant hurled himself over the bench, arms outstretched to attack her courtroom, according to the courtroom video. Okay. Diobra, that's my man's name, Reddy, 30 years old, was in court for a sentencing hearing after he pled guilty in November to attempted battery with substantial bodily harm, according to court records. Now, the video from the hearing shows Judge Mary Kay Hoffus suddenly look up as others in the courtroom began to yell. Redding can then be seen leaping over the bench and pulling the judge to the ground as flags on either side of her chair fall to the floor. Two people can be seen pulling Redding away from the judge as someone yells, "Get off her," according to the video, which has been viewed more than 30 million times on social media. I was taken by it. Were you taken by it, Paul?
Look, man, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Hold on, I'm not finished. But
That's
about
my
what I want to
question.
say. But anyway, I want you to answer the question before the camera comes back to me.
Okay. Yeah, I was shocked.
Oh, shock. Okay. So Holthus, the judge, and a courtroom marshal were both injured in the attack, according to Marianne Price, who is a spokesman for the 8th Judicial District Court. The judge is being monitored for her injuries, and the marshal was taken to a hospital where Marianne Price said he is in stable condition. This is a quote: "We commend the heroic acts of her staff." That we need to talk about. I didn't see anything that was heroic about her staff. And I know if there are any judges listening to this, the first thing they're going to say is, where in the hell were the deputies in this courtroom? So we commend the heroic acts of her staff, law enforcement, and all others who subdued the defendant. Okay, well, they did subdue him. But it was too late. He never should have got to the judge. Just before the attack, an attorney for Redden asked for a sentence of probation. And I'm laughing because this man's record is so, it just brings back the prosecutor in me like, hell no, there's no way you're going to get probation, man. The judge can be heard in the video denying the request, telling the attorney, I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. Then this defendant had previously served time in prison for attempted theft and domestic battery, according to Nevada state records. The defendant was taken into custody Wednesday on charges of battery and battery of a protected person, according to online jail records. His attorney did not immediately respond to a request for comment to the media on Wednesday afternoon. The Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department said it is investigating the battery incident, which occurred around 11 a.m. at the Regional Justice Center. Police did not name anyone involved in the incident, but we know who it was. The Clark County District Attorney Steve Wolfson told the Las Vegas Review-Journal that the scene in the courtroom was unbelievable. I'm sure he will be facing consequences for his actions, according to the DA. The judge, who became a judge for the 8th Judicial District in 2019, did not immediately respond to any media requests for comment. She previously served more than 2 decades as a prosecutor for the Clark County District Attorney's Office. Weapons, by the way, are barred in the courtroom, where people are instructed to sit quietly when court is in session, according to the 8th Judicial District Court's website. Now, Price said, Marianne Price, I guess it's the name Marianne Price. Marianne Price said the court is committed to providing a safe and secure environment. We are reviewing all our protocols, Paul. Put that in quotes. We'll come back and talk about that. Our protocols will do whatever is necessary to protect the judiciary. Didn't do it that day. Yesterday, the public and our employees, according to Marianne Price. So,
It's easy.
hold on, before we do that. Now, I would tell you all the sound is a little bit interesting here, so just bear with us on the sound. We lost Paul's camera again.
Why do you keep losing my
I
camera?
don't know why we keep losing your camera. Anyway, I'm not sure if we can bring Paul back, and we're not gonna restart the whole show. But you can talk. You can just come over here, Paul, and we can just talk about it.
I'll call in.
Anyway, I'm going to show them the video. Let's show them the video. Can we show the video, Mr. Engineer? And then, and I don't know if you all can hear this, but if you can, just take a listen to this just for a second.
His education, and at 30 years old, he does not have a high school degree. And so we spoke about that as well, and I think it's high time that we did that. I think the court can trust that he.
I know you can't. I know we can't control the sound. This is actually the video on the sound is low because they're away from the microphone. Now that's his attorney talking now. And I guess you can't bring me and Paul in. Can you just bring Paul in on the one single picture? Is he going to be frozen on the picture? Okay, well you don't have to worry about it. You can bring me in if you want on this. Okay, but go ahead and play the video if you can.
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court
Get off her! Get off her! You're good, stop! Don't do this!
Do this. Beat the hell out of him.
Hey, where's Mary Kate? Is she okay?
Paul, we're gonna listen to you talk as we bring back. Can we? Can you bring us back on the two screen?
Hey,
On the two screen. Okay. Yeah. You're frozen on the two screen with the with the video in the middle. Wow. Okay, so let's talk about this before we go into too many of these comments.
hey, where's Mary Kate?
She's right here. She's right here.
It's outrageous, man.
Okay, here we go. The hottest topic on social media is the Cat Williams unfiltered interview with Shannon Sharp, Cat Dog Show Comedians and others. Yeah, I saw that album, but we ain't gonna talk about that. One of those guys in the suit was going in though. Yeah, he was. He was really going in on this guy.
Grab him.
But and Judge, I don't mean to call you out, but I can imagine that every judge that saw this, first thing they asked was, well, what in the hell? Can you pause it? Can
You would just think that this. God, I don't want to dump on the deputies. I don't know those guys, but I didn't see them there. We got a lot more deputies in our courtroom, to be honest with you. Like, don't they have like 3 or 4 in ours? At least 2 or 3, right?
Yeah.
in most courtrooms.
Yeah.
And
Here we go. Hold on 1 second. I want to show you this. So it's another person that we're familiar with who just happens to be a member of the judiciary. She said
Lord
that
God.
was a hell of a leap. And I agree with you, Judge. That was a hell of
Fly.
a leap. That was a hell of a leap. I think that he was a superhero.
R. Kelly.
Now that old boy has been convicted of assault up in New York and they're taking him out of the Marvel films. You see that? John Morgan, what's his
No.
name? Yeah,
Uh,
whatever his name is. But anyway, now that he's been taken out,
I can't think of his name.
maybe this guy can come back and replace him because
Shut up.
this guy took and I mean, I agree with the judge. He took a hell of a leap. No, honestly, Paul, can you do that in the courtroom?
No, I couldn't.
There is absolutely no way because she is setting up higher than him. And he literally left his foot. Instead of being a criminal, that man had a career in the Olympics in long jumping or something.
Jonathan Majors.
Jonathan Majors, yeah, he could take Jonathan Majors' a position.
I mean, look,
They're going in, man. Jordan, Lawrence says maybe he's a real live Michael Jordan. I don't know, Troy
I
Lawrence.
called him R. Kelly.
Judge said he was probably on the track team in high school. He probably was.
High jump team.
And Priscilla's asking, was he her law clerk? I don't know. He probably was her staff attorney, Priscilla, the guy that was. Did y'all see that?
Yeah. But I just, where was the deputies? Was there a deputy there? One deputy, an older man, right? And it's like, I don't feel like they.
Well, there was a deputy sitting down, a younger guy.
I didn't feel like they did enough to stop his attack. I mean, I get he's a big guy, but the technique I would have thought they would have used would just to be tackle him and hold him on the ground, like tackle him.
I just think that here's my take on this.
Lethal force.
Here's my they didn't even
tase him, do something.
They didn't even do any of that, but they you heard what I just said, that they're not allowed to have weapons in the courtroom, which doesn't make any sense to me. But I thought I saw a deputy, but here's the thing. Let me just point out my issue with this. When I first saw this, having been a prosecutor in the past for so many years and having worked inside the courtroom, I am just amazed, just outright amazed how, in my opinion, the security in that courtroom failed that judge. Period. The security in that courtroom failed that judge. And I think all judges ought to now reconsider where they are basically allowing their deputies to be, in times like that. And it looks like Judge Brown says that, let me see her comment there. Yeah, her says our deputies do have weapons. Yeah, your deputies have weapons, but in Las Vegas, apparently
not even tasers.
No, I apparently they, it sounded like they were tasing him. You would think that they're allowed to have tasers there, but I don't know how you allow an individual who acknowledged that he had a mental illness, has apparently been to mental court twice to deal with that, admits that the system has failed him, and you don't provide the judge any security. In our courtrooms, Paul, the deputies, when there comes time for sentencing, the deputies all gather around. We have more deputies in the courtroom, law enforcement in the courtroom. Some of my deputies would have met him mid-air without and that's right. and so listen. So what I get from this video is that I'm not gonna. I mean, I think they call them marshals out there. Those court marshals out there just failed this judge.
All right, so give me a split screen there.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're still frozen.
That's okay.
But go ahead.
So, two things that I saw in there. I do believe when he ran to the judge and he leaped, I'm not going to hold the deputies accountable for that. They see thousands of cases a week. I don't know, maybe not thousands, but they see a lot of cases a week. And this is so unusual that she's probably sentenced 100 people. Okay. Last year at least. She probably had a lot of sentencings. It's so unusual that I'm not going to hold him responsible for his initial rush and leap. I've been in a courtroom when people have done things suddenly.
Whoa, Paul, you lost me, bro.
What?
Wow, you lost
Well,
me.
let me finish. Because in order to meet in our courtrooms, there's a lot of distance between where the person sits and where the judge
There's a
is.
lot of distance between him and the
I
judge.
saw that, but
He was behind his defense attorney and behind counsel's
I'm
table.
just
Go
trying. I'm
ahead.
just trying to say I'm not going to hold the deputies accountable for a sudden rush and a leap that probably no one else could do. I'm not saying no one else.
Bullshit. I'm
You
not.
think anybody could do what he did? I
No,
couldn't.
listen. What he did was somewhat amazing.
Call him a superhero.
I did call him. He behaved like a superhero. But let me just tell you this, Paul. Let me just tell
I
you
was going to finish. I said I don't hold him accountable for that. That
You
was
don't hold
sudden.
who accountable for that.
I don't say deputies you failed because he leaped over the. That's a protocol issue, okay? Because we have sheriffs who stand behind the prisoners as they're speaking, and they kind of know whether or not they're going to jail. You know what happens. You know what happens. A guy's in court, the judge is talking, and suddenly they start sharpening their cuffs, and they go and stand behind the prisoner before she says them. They just know that this motherfucker is about to go in custody. Let's go stand behind him, and they get ready. So that's a protocol issue that department needs to fix. But if their issue is literally the sheriff stands there and he sits there all day in a courtroom like a bump on a log, and maybe he's on his phone or whatever, that's a protocol issue that they need to change. But at the time, if he was allowed to do that, he didn't see that coming. But what I don't like is after he got to her, I did not see enough action.
You gotta tell me.
I did not see enough defensive maneuvers to protect that judge. And that's where I have a problem because he managed to hit, it looked like he was striking at or striking that judge.
No,
Maybe
he pulled.
10 or
He
12
grabbed
times.
her hair.
Right, 10 or 12 times he got a hit off.
No, well, hold on. So let me just back up, Paul. I mean, why are we talking about that they should change the protocol? Why isn't that the protocol?
It should be.
You know, just in general. So when I make the statement that I believe the court marshals failed this judge, I don't know how relaxed they are in Las Vegas in court to, when a judge is about to give a violent person I'm sorry.
But
I'm not gonna call him a violent person. Hold on, let me just say this. Someone who has been convicted of a violent crime over and over and over. He had already been to prison. And to be that relaxed in the courtroom, that is the issue that I have.
Right.
That is the issue that I have.
We are that relaxed when we sentence people. We sentence people to, 20, 30 years.
What is your point by comparing the two? I'm
saying that could happen in our courtroom today.
No.
Yes, it could.
Well, and it's a shame.
Yes, it could. It almost did, in fact.
No, it did.
In district court.
It happened in district court with Judge Haney. However, it happened in district court, but that was a little bit different because there were very few deputies in there. I think there were probably like 2 deputies in there, and they were somewhat relaxed until everything started to happen. Right? There were 3 at the beginning when they told the girl to get out and all of that. But all I'm saying is that you have to have better courtroom security. Nobody loves the person that is about to send them to the penitentiary. That's why the distance is so far. But again, I'm not sure that that's the history of why we sit so far away from judges, but I'm just saying.
But it goes back to what I was saying. In our courtrooms, if you do criminal defense, when somebody's about to go to jail, it seems like those sheriffs know it before it happens. Now, I've been in a courtroom one time where a judge sentenced my client, as he got sentenced, he ran out the courtroom, and nobody knew he was going to run out of the courtroom. They changed that.
Hold on. I got something for you, man.
All right.
In lieu of tomorrow being Founders Day for Kappa Alpha Psi, I'm bringing my cane to work with me tomorrow. # Noop Judge. That's Judge Edwards. I think he's... Anyway,
he's saying bring the cane.
He's bringing that for the individual that he's sentencing. I think he might be bringing it for his frat brother. I don't know, Judge. If you're bringing it for your frat brother, that's understandable.
Stop.
That's understand. You listen, Paul.
You don't think that can happen in any courtroom?
Paul, listen. We cannot. It can happen. Anything can happen anywhere under any circumstance.
Exactly.
All I'm saying is this. Is that the courtroom is not the criminal courtroom is not always a friendly place. If you're going to take all the precautions, before you even come in the building to make sure nobody has any weapons and all of this stuff. I'd be damned if you don't take the necessary precautions to keep individuals away from the judge.
Carl, people literally stand within 20 feet of our judges every day when they talk to the judges, within 20 feet. And they're closer to the judge than our sheriffs
deputies and
every day.
But our sheriffs are on alert.
Yes,
give them credit. They are on alert.
Not every single minute of the day.
Well, sometimes you get, as a deputy, you get distracted by someone asking you a question, or clerk asking you to something, or the judge or somebody wants to present something to the judge, and you take it to the bench. I get that, but what I'm saying is that this is appalling to me, because I don't give a damn what ability he has to leap. When at the moment he left counsel's table,
right, they should have reacted.
The moment he left counsel's table, there should have been enough security in that courtroom to stop his forward progress.
I mean,
and it didn't happen.
The video, it took less than 2 seconds to get to that.
I don't give a damn.
And you think somebody could have?
Give a damn.
I'm just saying.
What do you think police officers are trained to do? You
Police
think
officers don't always catch people doing stuff like that. They don't always stop them from doing the crime. I mean, you stop them from prolonged beating up the judge.
Maybe there's some
run and leap over.
Maybe there's some other reason that they quickly shoot young black males running or something like that. I don't know, but I'm just saying this, Paul. I'm just saying.
I agree that they need to do something different with the protocol of how prisoners are brought into a courtroom and allowed to have that access to a judge. But right now, if that's the way it's been for the last 20 years and nobody had ever seen anybody leap across there, I'm not mad at them for that. I'm mad at them because it happened. I feel sorry for this judge. I'm mad because of the late reaction. There was no reaction. Why does the law clerk?
We don't have to wait until.
Why does the law clerk have to beat the criminal off the judge? Where are the sheriffs? If there's only one sheriff in the room and he's an old man, am I going to blame the old man for fighting a stout, strong, young, guy with a rap sheet of 20 assaults? That's the problem. You got one guy sitting there.
Let me get some of these other comments,
because
these comments are really, really interesting. Although I think your frat brother's going to bring a cane
on
Founders Day tomorrow, hoping that you would come in.
Stop.
All right, so here we go. Troy, please, you could see it coming with him shaking his head. When else are you supposed to be alert? The verdict. Come on, they should be fired. You fired in my.
There's only one guy, but there's only one guy though, right?
Exactly. Way too relaxed, according to Judge Brown, for the known circumstances. I agree. When you got somebody there that is saying, Judge, I don't want to go to prison. And then he says, well, if you have to send me to prison, I understand you have to do that. And all of this man's past, I mean, this is not like he was a former businessman that committed a white collar crime. This man had a violent criminal past.
Hindsight's always 20/20.
No, but Paul, we can't wait until it happens.
No,
you can't. I don't think you can say.
I'm just saying. I'm being fair. Hindsight's 20/20. Every time something bad happens,
who you being fair to? Who you being fair to?
Huh?
The deputies out there.
I'm not being
the marshals out there. What I'm saying to you is this. Yeah, but it sounds like what you're saying is that when it happens, then we need to take steps to repair it. It should never happen.
But they didn't have any protocols in place to stop it from happening. If this sheriff is allowed to sit there relaxed and nobody said or has come out and said he wasn't in the spot that he's supposed to be. For instance, when they bring prisoners out in Jefferson County, sheriffs have spots that they have to be at. And if somebody said he's not in his spot, yes, they're wrong. But if they allow our prisoners to come in and just walk up to the podium with the sheriff standing over by the door, they're not in a spot where they're not supposed to be. So you can't say he screwed up. That's the protocol they've been following. And the protocol is wrong if you let a sheriff sit in a chair for relax as he goes and play on his phone while the guy is standing over saying, I'm about to attack his judge. That's a protocol issue. Now, if you tell me this old man, first of all, he was an older man, I saw him in the video, is doing something he's not supposed to be doing, fine.
Do you believe the marshal should be fired?
I believe if the protocol was that they're supposed to be standing behind him with guns at a sentencing.
What do you think the protocol in a criminal courtroom where judges hand out sentences, sometimes life imprisonment?
No, I
think the hold on. Let me just finish. Hold on. Do you believe that do you believe that our deputies are sitting around saying, let's wait until he jumps at the judge, and then we're going to change everything around in this courtroom so this will never happen again.
That's
No, those protocols are already in place.
That's how everything. Look, you're. This is an explosive situation. I get it, but I'm also a realist, and you know this. That's how society works. We don't change shit until we say, "Oh, that ain't working." That's how it goes. We have certain things that we do today that we weren't doing 20 years ago. For instance, did you know that all the police officers used to leave their names on courtroom jackets? Right? You remember that?
I remember that.
And now they don't. Why? Why don't they do that? Because they found out that people can find their phone numbers on those jackets. And we might say, well, that's wrong. They should have never been writing their phone numbers on those jackets.
So I'm losing your point. What's your point?
We always react when we figure out that something we were doing that was normal protocol isn't good for us. That's how society works.
Paul,
and I know you don't want to hear that, but if this guy's allowed to sit in a chair
I can hear anything
and play with his thumbs while there's a sentencing,
I can listen to anything. I can agree with anything that you're saying. But here's the problem. It sounds like you're making excuses for the fact that it happened, and now we go back to the drawing board in the 8th Judicial Circuit in Nevada, and you say, okay, now how are we going to avoid this happening again? Yes. There are protocols in place, Paul, right now, where law enforcement anticipates at a minimum that would happen. But I would tell you, we have had everywhere. Let me just tell you this. Well, maybe that's what. Well,
one deputy.
I think it is in Nevada, and I wish we had researched that before I came on the air. But here's the thing: I think it is in Nevada. I just think that marshals in the courtroom ought to understand that their role is to secure the judge. Right? Part of the role is to secure the judge. Right. That's why they're there.
Absolutely.
And so I believe that Nevada had protocols in place, and I believe that maybe some heads should roll. But I can tell you, I've seen numerous situations where judges have been spit on. Litigants have thrown things at judges, mainly criminal defendants have thrown things at judges. They have cussed them out, but they have never, ever, I don't give a damn about his leaping abilities. They have never, ever have been given an opportunity to get access, physical access to the judge like this guy was. And so I don't excuse the marshals out there. What I say is that I'm sure that every courtroom has a protocol because everybody follows this national law enforcement model. So I'm sure in the courtroom they have a protocol.
Okay, so anyway, I would say you this.
I'm going to give you the last comment, Paul, before we have to get out of this.
The courtrooms that I go to on a daily basis, I could really have my client, and this won't happen because I just don't believe it'll happen, but it's entirely possible. I stand closer to the judges with my client to my side than any sheriff does. There's no sheriff between me and the judges. Okay. And if I had a crazy client.
Can I pause you? Hold that thought for a second. Yeah. Judge Edwards said, Tanisha Hickinson and Lori Goodman, I'll bring y'all canes too.
That is corrected.
Yeah, which means that I think he was talking about his frat brother from the same chapter at the University of Kentucky. But go ahead.
I'm just being real. Y'all act like this situation could have been avoided, but I'll tell you right now. Listen, I'm gonna tell you.
Oh my God!
But yes, you're exasperated.
Say that.
You're exasperated, and
my engineer wants to.
You're exasperated, but listen to what I'm about to say, and every judge can hear this. Every day I walk up to the court. And I'm within 10 feet of the judge, and my client is right next to me. There is no sheriff next to us. Those sheriffs are standing by doors, are usually sitting down at a sheriff's table. If I had a crazy client who had super leaping ability, it wouldn't take him 2 seconds to get to the judge. It would not. If he had something in his pocket that he wanted to throw at a judge, there's nothing they could do. There's nothing I could do.
Here you can.
No, I'm telling you. Physically, that can happen. So
in district court, they stand in front of the bench.
Right. We used to stand
and even closer. In civil court, they stand in front of the bench.
We used to stand closer, and now we don't. But that's good. Well, but I'm saying
consider the heightened circumstances here, though, Paul. Consider the heightened circumstances. A mentally ill, violent criminal, an individual with a violent past.
I'm not picking on the judge. I'm just being real. The judge knew what she was going to do. The judge had an inkling. She knew who he was before anybody else.
Do you think it was her responsibility to say, hey, look, I'm sending him to penitentiary. Y'all come around.
I'm not saying that. I'm being realistic. And I'm saying the fact that they have a system that allows him within 2 seconds of getting to the judge Every single day she's vulnerable. Every single day, every judge is vulnerable.
Crazy is going to be crazy, Paul. Is that what they're saying? They're calling you
Look,
out, Paul.
I mean, I'm being real.
It's all a fail. Point of
I-
it's a fail. I agree with you, Troy. It's a fail.
I'm being real.
Put up that.
You can put all that up, but you got to hear what I'm saying.
No. What'd you say? Crazy gonna meet crazy that day, Paul. What she's saying is that if that ever happens,
Right, she's gonna get something for it. You can walk over, but you're gonna limp back.
Yeah, right.
It's
not
you can
gonna
walk
happen.
over, but you're gonna limp back.
Anyway, let's go through these comments, and then after we go to the comments,
Well,
I'm gonna give you the last.
I
You didn't finish. Okay,
no, I'm saying that judges should be aware, and while they are laughing and clowning me or threatening me with canes, be aware that what happened there is not necessarily something that, oh, that's just crazy. These people in our courtrooms are the same distance away. And these sheriffs, while you can sit here and say they could have stopped it, Carl, if I'm standing next to this person, if I'm standing right next to him, I can't physically grab him without knowing exactly what he's going to do. I would be chasing him, but he could still get there. So even the guy who's standing right next to him, you disagree. You think that I could take off running and get within 2 seconds, and you can beat me somewhere to where I'm going to in 2 seconds?
I think if
I think it's possible.
I think if you have a criminal defendant in your courtroom with a violent past that you are about to sentence, okay, and the sheriffs know that. They know who comes in that courtroom.
That's the protocol I was just telling you about.
A lot of the court marshals have actually sat through the trials. They know this individual, and sometimes these individuals have been in this same courtroom over and over.
That's right, and that's another reason.
Hold on, let me just finish this thought. And so when you take all of that into consideration, and then the guy is standing there saying, I've got a mental problem. I've been to mental health court twice. And, sometimes I just I can't. And I know they couldn't hear the audio, but when you listen to the audio, he's saying all of that. And which brings to the forefront, Paul, this idea that we still are not addressing mental illness in our court system. But aside from that, I'm just saying, when you take into consideration all those circumstances, in my opinion, among the court marshals, there should have been a heightened awareness that all of the protocols that I know they have in Nevada, should have been practiced. So anyway,
so the only way they could have stopped that was to have a sheriff standing in front of the guy before in front of the judge. So in other words, if you know it's going to be violent, you stand a judge right in front of you stand a sheriff right in front of the podium. That's the only way you could stop him, because he ran and leaped over that balcony. He didn't climb. He didn't get up there and stop. He leapt over. You telling me that somebody had look, we know it's bad, but I'm just trying to be realistic. Where you say it could have been stopped. The only way it could have been stopped is if you had a protocol in place.
No, I think it could have been stopped.
The only way it could have been stopped is if you had a protocol in place from the beginning, which said, okay, this guy's a violent prisoner. Put him in handcuffs because I know I'm going to sentence him, and I know he's not going to like it.
No, he was in court to be sentenced, so there was no purpose to have him in a handcuff at that time.
But the only way you could have stopped him from running and leaping.
No, that's not.
Because what you're saying is you're trying to shoot a bullet with a bullet.
Paul, if you look at
you
that
can't
video,
do that.
No, Paul, if you look at the video, he was further away in that video from Judge Mary Kay than the criminal defendants are when they're at the podium in arraignment in civil in circuit criminal. Okay, so I'm just saying that. I'm just saying I agree. Look, we got it. We beat it up. Let's get through these comments so we can get out of here. In all seriousness, judges also need to treat all litigants with respect. Not saying this judge didn't, but we also have to be mindful how we speak to litigants. Yeah, she was a little Judge Goodwin. She was a little like, nah, this ain't gonna happen today. And she overtalked the defendant, which probably triggered him as well, and reminded him of all the violent crimes he had been convicted of in the past. Give me another one. Give me the one. I think I want you to go back. Can you go back?
I mean, she could have signaled to her sheriffs that she was gonna lock him up, but
go back.
I don't think his act could have been stopped unless you had something in place before he did it.
Okay, so here we go. It says, love for Brother Paul, according to Judge Edwards. Canes are just in case someone tries to make that leap at me. So he's clarified it.
Okay.
I think you're being political, Judge, but okay.
No, that's what I thought.
I think you're being political.
No,
that's good. He's
giving canes to everybody to protect themselves.
Yeah, right. Okay. Go to the next one for me, if you don't mind, sir. And also, we just read that one. Can you go to the next one? Because we're going to try to get out of here, y'all. We think we're over time. some of our judges might meet him halfway.
Right. Meet you halfway.
Yeah. I was threatened many times as a prosecutor. Judge
That's
says,
his
no
birthday.
doubt.
He didn't attack the prosecutor next to him, who's the one who got him there.
What Judge Higginson says. Okay, who's the next one? He drugged the judge by her hair. He had a running start. Must have been a large room. LOL. Yeah, I mean the point is he was far away. There was opportunity to stop him. Is that the last one? Anyway,
You still believe that, don't you?
anyway, I really do believe that. I've
Opportunity to
watched the
stop.
video over and over again. Anyway,
I've watched it too. It took him 2 seconds, Carl. There's reaction time. They need to have a different protocol. If they know they're going to be a sentencing, it's going to be serious.
I get into it.
You put extra sheriffs in the room. That's what we do.
Okay.
I'm not going to sit here and say that.
Hey, Mr. Mullins, I know we have a room for whenever your livelihood is on the line, force would be used. Yeah.
Mhm.
I see.
Put
I
extra
guess
sheriffs in the
that's
room.
what he meant by that. But anyway, listen, we've got to get out of here. This has been extravagant. There are at least 30, 40 people in the room by itself, which is the highest that we've had in a long time. So anyway, listen, Paul, thank you for the dialogue. Everybody gets an opportunity to see what you and I do at lunch every day.
Every day.
We eat 10% of the time and we debate these issues the other 90% of the time. But anyway, this is Conscious Fever. I'm Carl Price, your host here on Ice Entertainment Television and Conscious Fever Radio. Chia Woodfork. The sheriffs are old and slow. Okay, Sandy, hold on.
No, that's most courtrooms though.
I know this because they're retired police. I understand. I understand.
So you got to change the protocol. You can't rely on. I mean, some of them are young, but you got to change protocol.
I bring that KP crowds. Okay, listen, y'all. Good to get out of here. I'm Carl Price. You know which one to take us out on the end credits? Okay. I'm Carl Price. This has been Conscious Fever. Paul, thank you again for joining us this night. We're going to have a hot topic next week, I'm sure. Anyway, I'm Carl Price. It's been Conscious Fever. Thanks for listening to us on Conscious Fever Radio and here on Ice Entertainment Television on all these social media outlets. Have a good evening and Happy New Year to everybody. I'll see you next week. Hopefully, Paul will be with me.
All right.
Good night.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price on 97thebeatfm.com.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh yes it is. Then I go to my brother. And I say, brother, help me please. But he wind up knocking back down on the knee. There've been times that I thought I couldn't last for long. real. And it's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes it is, yes it is, yes it is. Said I know that a change is gonna come one day. I know a change